the oath to you.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
All right, so if you'll step right around over here for me. And if you would like, you can adjust that microphone and just be sure and speak directly into it loudly so everybody can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Guy.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. If you please tell the members of the jury your name.
Christopher LeBlanc.
Do you live here in Jacksonville?
Yes, I do.
How long have you lived in the Jacksonville area?
Most of my life.
And how old are you now?
I'm 26.
Are you employed?
Yes, sir.
Where is it that you work?
Venus Swimwear.
And what do you do for them?
I'm an account specialist. I work customer service.
And how long have you been with that business?
On and off since 2008.
All right. Let me turn your attention then to the early evening of Friday, November 23rd, 2012. Do you recall that evening?
Yes, I do.
Did you go out to dinner that evening?
Yes, I did.
Where did you go?
I went to the Loop,
And what Loop location did you go to?
Southside and Bay Meadows.
That's the restaurant contained in a small plaza of stores?
Correct.
All right. Had you ever been to that plaza before?
Yes, I had.
Did you go to dinner with anyone that evening?
Yes, I did.
And who was that?
My sister and my son and her roommate,
And your sister's name is?
Alyssa LeBlanc.
All right. And your son at the time, how old was he?
He was 2.
And who did you ride to the Loop with?
My sister and my son.
And who was driving?
My sister.
And what type of car did your sister Alyssa drive at that time?
I believe at the time she was still driving a Saturn.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you to look at States 1. Is that on your monitor?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. Can you show the jury the area that your sister parked when you all arrived at the Loop restaurant? Approximate area? You have to press on the screen.
Approximately in this area here.
Okay. And is that the row of parking spaces nearest Southside Boulevard?
Yes, it is.
Which way was your sister's car facing? Was it facing Southside or the Loop?
It was facing Southside.
After dinner, did the four of you leave the Loop restaurant together?
Yes, we did.
And where had your sister's roommate parked?
Up close, about somewhere along this line here.
Okay, the
Right up
row
to the
closest to
building.
the stores?
Correct.
Okay. Did your sister's roommate go to her car as soon as y'all got out of the restaurant?
Yes, she did.
All right. As you and your sister and your son were headed back towards your sister's car, did you hear anything that caught your attention?
Yes, I did.
What was that?
Gunshots
And in what direction did the gunshots sound as though they were coming from?
from my left at the time. I was walking towards Southside Boulevard, so it would have been coming from the direction of the gate.
And when you heard the gunshots, did you hear, you recall how many you heard?
Not offhand. And
Okay.
I know there were 2 sets.
Okay, so there was a series of shots, a pause, and then another series?
Correct.
All right. What did you do when you heard the gunshots?
I walked a little bit faster. We got to the car and tried to get in the car and get my son in the car and get out of there as quickly as we could.
All right. At some point after the gunshots, did you see any vehicles in the parking lot that caught your attention?
Yes, I did.
And what kind of car was that?
A red Dodge Durango.
And what was it about the red Dodge Durango that caught your attention?
He pulled in really fast into the parking lot, didn't pull into a spot. He just stopped and the tires had squealed.
Can you show the members of the jury on that aerial States 1 approximately where the red SUV stopped?
He stopped approximately right here.
And was the car headed in your direction?
Yes, sir, it was.
When the red SUV stopped, did it pull into a space or back into a space or what?
No, sir, he just stopped right there.
All right, where was your attention focused at that point?
At the SUV,
And why was that?
because I heard gunshots and he came pulling into the parking lot.
And where were you standing at that point when the red SUV came to a stop?
At that point, I was next to my sister's car.
And what parts of the Durango could you see from where you were standing?
I could see the front end and I could see down both sides because I was standing in the back of her car.
Did you see anyone get out of the red SUV?
Yes, I did.
How many people?
2 individuals.
And where did those people get out of the car from?
The front passenger and the drivers.
Could you tell the sex of either of those 2 people?
Not offhand, not to my recollection. Recollection.
Could you tell the race of either of those people or the color? White, black, Hispanic, or what?
They seemed to be black, but it was, I'm pretty sure they were black, but it was dark, so.
All right. The front passenger, when that person got out, where did you see that person go?
He went straight to the back door.
And what did he do there?
He opened it and looked inside.
Did you know what the front passenger, did you know what he was looking at when he opened the door?
Not at all.
Did you ever see the front passenger walk away from the area of the SUV?
No, I did not.
Did you ever see the front passenger take anything out of the SUV?
No, I did not.
Did you ever see anything come out of the passenger side of the SUV?
No, I did not.
The driver of the SUV, where did that person go?
He stepped out and went to the back as well.
And what did you see that person do?
He opened up the door and leaned in.
The door directly behind the driver's side?
Directly behind the driver's side,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Did you know what he was looking at when he opened the door?
No, sir, I do not.
Did you ever see the driver walk away from the SUV?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you ever see the driver take anything out of the SUV?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you ever see anything come out of the SUV on the driver's side?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you see anyone else other than the front passenger and the driver exit the SUV?
No, sir, I did not.
All right. At some point, did the driver and the front passenger get back into the SUV?
Yes, they did.
And did they get back into the driver's seat and the front passenger seat?
Yes, they did.
And what did you see the red SUV do after the driver and the front passenger got in?
At that point, I don't recall if I had seen them put it into reverse and back up, but I do recall them both getting back into the vehicle, and that's when they put it in reverse and back towards the gate.
All right. And when you say put in reverse, you mean literally just back straight up?
Correct.
Okay. So the tail lights, the headlights would be facing you?
Correct.
Did you ever see the red SUV leave the plaza or go out on the south side?
No, sir, I did not.
All right. And at some point while this is going on, did you put your son into his car seat?
Yes, I did.
Had you ever done that before?
More than a few times.
Did it take you very long to do that?
Not at all.
Did you then get back into your sister's car?
Yes, I did.
Who was driving?
My sister.
Did y'all leave that parking lot?
Yes, we did.
And where did you go?
We went to her apartment.
All right. Using States 1, Mr. Smith, if you could clear that for me, thank you so much. Can you just show the jury kind of where you saw the red SUV backing up?
He had stopped here, and when he reversed straight back this way.
All right. And where did you and your sister go from the plaza?
We pulled out in this direction, and there's an exit a little further down, and we
All right.
took that exit and went to our apartment.
Let me show you 205. Is that essentially the view that you had looking from the area where your sister's car was parked back to the Gate gas station?
Yes, sir.
Okay, obviously this photograph was taken in daytime.
Right.
Your view would have been at night?
Correct.
Okay. Do you recall there's a truck there on the right, it says Cricket on it. Do you recall whether or not that truck was there?
I don't believe it was.
Okay. At some point, did you or your sister call 911?
Yes, we did.
Who called 911?
I called as we were pulling out.
And did you speak with the 911 operator?
Yes, I did.
Tell him what you had seen and heard?
Yes, I did.
At one point on the 911 call, did you tell the operator that it looked like the driver may have been stashing something inside the SUV?
Yes, sir. I did make that comment.
What did you mean by that?
I wasn't sure what exactly was going on, so I didn't know if they were involved or not. I didn't know if they were trying to put something inside the vehicle, hide something inside the vehicle or not, because I saw him leaning inside.
Did you know what the driver was doing when he was leaning inside?
No, I did not. I was just making an assumption.
All right. And this would be leaning into the rear door on the driver's side.
Correct.
Okay, so would the door have been open?
Yes, sir.
Would the door have blocked your view of what the driver was doing in the car?
Correct.
Did you ever see anything come out of the car on that side?
Not at all.
During the 911 call, did you put your sister on the phone with 911?
Yes, I did.
And she's driving at this time?
Yes, she is.
Okay. And why did you put your sister on the phone?
Because she knew how the area a little better. She needed to give them her address.
All right. And did the police later make contact with you in this case?
Yes, they did.
Did you actually meet with a police officer?
Yes, sir. I met with two detectives,
Okay. And you recall that being on or about December 3rd?
approximately.
Did you tell the homicide detectives what you had seen and heard that evening?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you ever see anything that evening that looked like a weapon in or around the red SUV?
Not at all.
Did you ever see anything that looked like a weapon of any kind on either the front passenger or the driver of the SUV?
Not at all.
All right. After that date, after November 23rd, 2012, were you advised that you had a capias for your arrest for a charge of driving while license suspended?
Yes, sir.
And when was that?
That I don't remember the exact date.
All right. Would November of 2013 be approximate?
That sounds about right. It was when I was, yes, sir, it was about that time.
And did myself or somebody from my office contact you in reference to that capias?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, did I do anything for you and with regards to your capias?
You got me a court date for the following week so that I could come into court.
Did you go to court?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you have a valid license when you went to court?
Yes, sir, I did.
Tell the jury what happened when you got to court.
I walked into the court. The prosecutor, the judge had asked me if I had a valid driver's license. I said, yes, sir, I do. He asked me to provide that to the prosecutor. I did that, and that was it. They told me to have a nice day.
Okay. Was the prosecutor myself or Ms. Wolfson or Ms. Corey?
No, sir.
Was the judge Judge Healy?
No, sir.
To your knowledge, did myself or anyone else from the state attorney's office have anything to do with the court dropping your driving while license suspended charge?
No, sir, not at all.
Let me show you a couple more photographs. States 3. Is that also an aerial of the Loop restaurant and the Plaza stores?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, can you show the jury what exit, if you recall, that your sister utilized to leave the parking lot that evening?
Yes, sir, we use this exit here.
All right, and then out on the south side?
Correct.
All right. Couple more photos, States 43. Does that appear to be the red SUV that you saw that evening?
Yes, sir, it is.
At this time, then, I would ask to publish Mr. LeBlanc's portion of the 911 call, States 167.
All right.
Matthew?
I'm just leaving the Loop over by the Meadows. We heard what it sounded to be like some really weak gunshots.
Okay, Bay Meadows Loop, you said?
What? I'm sorry?
The Loop on Bay Meadows?
Yes, the Loop over by the Meadows.
Okay, what road is it on? I don't have a Bay Meadows.
Okay, what road is this on? South side? It's south side of Bay Meadows.
Okay.
It was coming from over by the gas station, and then it looked like a Dodge Durango, but I can't be sure. It was like a red SUV. Came hauling after on the corner. Two black males stepped out, and I'm not sure where they just took off to. There's a cop sitting across the street with somebody pulled over.
Hold on, the two black males came from the red SUV?
Correct.
Okay, so the red SUV pulled up and the two black males got out?
Right. They pulled up. They didn't even pull into a parking spot. They just pulled into the lot, and like the driver stepped out. He looked like a black male with with kind of like longer hair. I couldn't really tell if he had dreads or not. Kind of dark. But
What color shirt?
and then what color was the shirt? Well, yeah, one of them had a camouflage shirt on.
The one with the long hair?
And a hat. No, that was the passenger had the camo on. Well, do we know what color the driver's shirt is? We don't. Yeah, we didn't get a color of the driver's shirt.
Okay.
I was kind of preoccupied because I've got my 2-year-old son with me, and me and my sister, we just got to our car when we heard it. And then, like I said, they pulled up right there by us, and so
Did they get out, or what did they do?
Yeah, they stepped out of the vehicle. It looked like they were either looking. Yeah, one was on his cell phone looking back, and it looked like they were pretty much just. I don't know if they were trying to stash something in the car or look for something or what. But they looked like they got out, kind of brushed themselves off, and then they got back in, and they took off. I don't know which way they went, 'cause I was putting my son in the car when they did that. I was trying to get out of there as fast as I could, because the last thing I need is for him to get shot over something stupid.
Did you get a tag number?
No, I didn't get it. Did you get the tag number? Yeah. Yeah, we were in the front. Like they stopped right before they got up to us.
Okay, which way did they leave when they left?
Do you see which way they left?
When they got back to their car, they went backwards, but they went back towards
Back towards the gas station.
I don't know where the gas station is.
There's a gas station right there. It's a gate where the shots were. It sounded like the shots were fired from, and they just threw it in reverse because it's all kind of like one parking lot. Yeah, there's a gate, and then there's like a shopping center with the loop.
How many shots did you hear?
Oh, it was like how many shots do you think it was? Yeah, it was more than 6 because it was like pop, 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 and then it stopped for a second, and you heard pop, 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 pop.
Okay, so would you say close to 10?
About, yeah. Like, it very well could have been.
Okay, what's your last name?
LeBlanc, L-E, B as in boy, L-A-N-C.
You want to see the officers when you come out? Are you still in the area?
We're actually headed back to the apartment where we'll have the officers.
Okay, that's the gas station.
We get off the officer meet us. Yeah, if you want to send an officer over my sister's apartment, that's where we're right by now. It's not far. It's, hang on a second, I'll let you speak with her, because she knows this area better than I do.
Okay.
Hang on a second.
My address.
All right, was that your portion of the 911 call?
Yes, it was.
All right. Mr. LeBlanc, throughout the call, it sounds as though you're kind of talking to the operator and then talking to someone else. Who are you talking to?
Alyssa.
All right. At the beginning of that call, I believe you said there's a cop across the street. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, sir.
What did you see that led you to believe there was a police officer across the street?
There was an officer across the street with his lights on.
And by lights on, what do you mean? Do you mean like their headlights?
He was running emergency, the red and blues.
Okay. And you could see that from where you were standing in the plaza parking lot?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know if that officer was responding to this call or was just stopped, or what do you know? Do you know?
Overruled.
He was there beforehand, so I didn't figure he was responding to that.
Let me make sure I understand. You saw the lights, the police lights going before the gunshots or the...
Right. He was there with his emergencies on prior to me hearing the gunshots.
Okay. Was he there with his emergency lights on when you left the parking lot?
Yes, sir, he was.
All right. Thank you, sir. Judge, that's all I have.
Mr. Carlisle.
Good afternoon, sir.
How you doing?
Now, while you're walking out of your sister's car, that's when you heard the gunshots?
Correct.
And her car was parked in the road, the parking lot that was furthest away from the restaurant?
Correct.
And it was facing Southside Boulevard.
Correct.
So the passenger side of her car was further away from the gate gas station than the driver's side.
Yeah, by a few feet.
Okay. Now, it was you, your sister, and your son, you were almost to the car when you heard the shots.
Correct.
And as soon as you hear the shots, your sister takes cover by the passenger side of her car.
I don't recall that. I recall afterwards her looking for her keys, which she very well may have taken cover by the car.
And she was actually holding your son at the time.
Correct.
But you actually kept walking past the car.
I told her, let's go. Yes, I continued to walk past the car and I told her, let's go.
Okay. After the shots, you see the red SUV approaching?
Yes, I did.
And the gunshots had obviously gotten your attention, but you also heard some tires squealing?
Correct.
Now, you testified you saw two people get out of the vehicle, correct?
That's correct.
The front passenger and the driver?
That's correct.
And both of them leave their doors open when they get out?
Not the front doors, the back doors.
Okay, so they both closed their front doors but opened the rear passenger doors?
To my recollection, yes, sir.
And I believe your testimony was that you could see the front passenger side the entire time?
I could see it, right, I could see the front end of the vehicle and then I could see down the two sides.
And from where you were standing, were you on the right or left side of your sister?
I was at the corner of her car. I was at the rear corner of her car, on the rear corner passenger side.
And she's standing in the middle of her car holding your son?
She was looking for her keys actually at that time.
So that would put her on your right side?
I don't recall. At some point in time, she handed me my son, and because she couldn't find her keys.
But you couldn't see what the front passenger was doing inside the SUV, correct?
Correct.
And I believe your testimony was the passenger was on the phone?
Correct.
Now, you had a clear view of the driver's side of the
Yes.
red SUV. And when the driver got out, he didn't leave the front door open. He closed the front door?
As to my recollection, he closed the front door. I mean, this was a long time ago, so.
Correct, it was
I'm
almost
not
2 years ago,
100%
correct?
sure on that, but to my recollection, he closed the doors.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I apologize.
It's not a problem at all.
The driver, when he got out, he didn't walk around the rear of the SUV to the passenger side, did he?
No, sir, not at all.
And he opened the back driver's side door,
The back driver's side door, yes, sir.
and he left that door open.
Yes, sir.
And that's when you saw him leaning in,
Yes, sir.
and obviously you couldn't see what he was doing inside the SUV.
Correct.
Could you just see the bottom of his legs?
The bottom of his legs, and then I could see the bottom half of him, basically, because the upper half of his torso was inside the vehicle.
Okay.
But he wasn't completely in the vehicle.
And it was nighttime when this occurred, correct?
Correct.
And did the red SUV have tinted windows?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, your sister was at some point looking in her purse for her car keys?
Correct.
And does she hand you the keys, or does she unlock the car herself?
To be honest, I can't recall.
All right.
I believe that I unlocked the doors, but again, I could be wrong about that.
And her vehicle at the time was kind of an older car, an older Saturn,
Right.
and it had manual locks,
Correct.
so she couldn't unlock the door from the outside like with the remote.
Right. She would have had to use the key.
Okay. And she had to unlock the door for you, or you unlocked the door for her?
I don't recall. I believe I may have unlocked the door, but again, I don't recall.
Again, because it was 2 years ago?
It's right. This was a while ago.
Now, as you're strapping your son in his car seat, you weren't watching the red SUV, right?
No, I was watching the red SUV.
So you can strap your son in his car seat without looking?
Yes, sir. It's a buckle.
As you were leaning over and unlocking the door for your sister, you weren't watching the red SUV, were you?
If I did that, then more than likely I would have been. I may have looked away for all of a split second when I was actually getting in, but I mean, my arms are really long. She's got a really small car.
So is your testimony today that your eyes never left the SUV the entire time?
Not for more than maybe a split second if I unlocked the doors.
And that's including you strapping your son in and unlocking the door?
Correct.
You actually told the 911 operator that you were preoccupied with your son, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I did.
As your sister is exiting the plaza and the red SUV is backing up towards the gate station, you weren't watching the red SUV then, were you?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure. When the red SUV was reversing back towards the gate gas station and your sister, you and your nephew are leaving out of the north part of the plaza, you weren't watching the SUV then, were you?
I watched it up until it had gotten to the gate, and then at that point, that's when we were pulling out, and that's when I stopped watching it. I didn't know if they had gone farther from there or not. They were still backing, in the process of backing to the gate.
And it was dark outside and the red SUV had its headlights on, correct?
Correct.
So what you could see is the headlights and the car backing up. You couldn't see any details.
Correct.
So you can't testify to whether or not anybody threw anything out of the SUV as it was backing up.
I mean, I never saw anything come out. I can testify that I never saw anything come out. That's as much as I know.
Okay. Now, when you were strapping your son in his car seat, was it in behind the driver's seat or the passenger seat?
I believe he was behind the passenger seat, but again, this was 2 years ago.
But to your recollection, it was behind the passenger seat?
To my recollection, it was behind the passenger seat.
Now, at some point in this case, you were subpoenaed for a deposition, correct?
Correct.
And you failed to show up?
Correct.
You actually failed to show up twice.
Correct.
And Mr. Guy contacted you after you failed to appear for those scheduled depositions?
Correct.
And it was actually Mr. Guy informed you that you had a warrant for your arrest?
I believe it may have been. I'm not 100% sure whether it was him or somebody from his office.
And as a favor, Mr. Guy personally called the judge's office who signed the warrant, or the capias.
I'm not sure exactly what happened. All I know is I was called and told that I had a court date for the following week, and I went into court the next week.
So to your knowledge, either Mr. Guy or someone from the state attorney's office was able to get the warrant recalled so you didn't have to go to jail?
Correct. I was unaware that I had the warrant to begin with.
I understand that, but someone from his office made it to where you didn't have to go to jail, you just had to go to court.
Correct.
And that favor was done for you because you're a witness in this case?
Not to my knowledge.
Just saying.
You've testified to the best of your recollection today, correct?
Yes, sir.
And again, this event occurred almost 2 years ago?
Yes, sir.
And your memory of an incident doesn't get better over time, does it?
Not at all.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mr. Guy?
Just briefly. Mr. LeBlanc,
Yes, sir.
at the time somebody from my office or myself contacted you about the arrest warrant, was that after you had called 911?
That was after I called 911.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Was that after you had spoken to the police?
Yes, sir, it was.
Did I make some kind of quid pro quo with you that I'll get the capias withdrawn if you testify a certain way?
Not at all. As a
Did I
matter
ever-
of fact, I believe what was said was, I have no interest in your...
Overruled.
I believe what was said is, I have no interest invested in your case. I just got you a court date. And I believe that's what I was told when I was provided with the court date.
All right. And to your knowledge, did I provide any assistance to you in court?
Not at all.
All right. Thank you, sir. Judge, that's all I have.
All right, may he be excused?
He may.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take an afternoon break, and we'll break until 3:30, and then we'll resume. So again, don't discuss the case among yourselves. Don't let anybody discuss the case with you. See you back in about 18 to 20 minutes.